Hey everybody, Anidorks here, Anna Cool Kids. I actually have Miranda and Eddie with me this time. Woo! Normally I pre-record all my parts to the show and they just like, Miranda's editing is magic. It just makes it work. But anyway, we want to let you know that we're coming back to do weekly episodes starting March 1st. And this is the first of that. You're hearing it now because it's March 1st.
Yes. Right
now. We have a Patreon. Patreon/Anidorks. You can come check it out. We're going to be releasing some special content there. Mainly we might give a peek behind the curtain. We might release some of our show notes. We might release a whole second podcast. That's us doing basically riff tracks to the Megamorphs television show from the early 2000s, which go YouTube that.
That opening.
That opening's
pretty lit.
Opening. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? The other two? Normally I make better use of you, but
check out our new artwork, which you probably can see.
Oh yeah, we have new artwork from Benny Kessler. They have a art enterprise called Retrospectacle Studio. You should go check them out. They kick so much ass. I think that's them on Instagram.
This is gonna sound so much smoother.
retro.spectacle.studio. Yeah. Now you blew it because you were talking over it. But if you go follow
him.
No, I know. But
even I know that.
You can
which is why I'm going to keep talking as you say them.
You can follow retro.spectacle.studio and see all the amazing artwork that they put out. It's really incredible stuff. And we are over the moon with our Andalite quadruple situation that is depicted. It's a very good. It's
is there a mouth behind that hand or not?
No, of course not.
If only.
Well,
if only
you know
we
what?
could see.
You can only find out if you really want to kiss him.
Yeah. He's sort of doing an I'll never tell pose. I'll never tell. Anyway, thank you so much, Benny. And thank you to all our listeners. Let's start the episode.
Woo! I can't. The newest version of Windows 11 isn't going to run on your old machine. But I just
Miranda,
get upset.
I'm sorry. I know. I love you. I also get upset.
I don't like
end of story.
If you want to send me a watch or a computer, I'm just kidding.
If I were to lose my watch, maybe you'd find it in your apartment. I don't know.
Wow. That's a well-traveled watch.
I don't think I'd want the watch. But
you were just begging me for a watch.
You get a step tracker.
Yeah.
You walk all those dogs.
That's true. But you can brag. My phone tracks the steps too.
You could just put it on a dog collar, then do Find My Watch and get them in
There
an
is
hour.
one dog we walk who has a step counter on it to make sure we walk the dog enough steps.
Ew, that's gross. All right, so guys,
there's our cold open.
These may be kids' books, but we discuss dark themes and mature content. There may also be some explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, our cold open. We haven't done any podcasting. I'm not even sure I'm recording right now. That's how out of practice I am. But here's the thing, guys. We got sent some emails back. You remember the year? I'm going to take you back in time. You remember the year 2022?
What?
Yeah, that sounds
like a fake year.
I know, fake year, but...
You mean 1922?
You might be right. These might be 100-year-old.
Look at all these dolled up flappers running around.
Oh, that's really good.
Actually, only one of our emails is from 2022. The other one's from just after.
All right, keeper of the emails. Take us through it.
2023.
Yeah, take us through it.
Okay,
wait, I'm going to popcorn in this bad boy.
I'm going to put them in play space.
Play space.
I see one in play space. Play space.
Hold on.
That's not play space.
Maybe we just do after a line break, we switch. Yeah? That way we get through it.
Yeah.
Hey there, Anidorks. Anna Cool Kids, of course.
Smiley face emoji.
Smiley face emoji.
I said that already. Keep going.
I really enjoyed listening to you all discuss the questions I sent last time. I also very much liked your discussions of the rest of Book 6. I remember when I first read that one as a kid, it left quite an impression. Personally, it left an impression as an adult for me, so I guess I should have said I was unquoting there, but no.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you just taking like huge creative license with this email? Yeah.
Sorry.
Miranda's fucking mental. She just gets in there and she just riffs the emails. It's so incredible.
Even as a kid, one of the things I loved about the series was how dark things could get. It was unusual for stories aimed at kids to dare to go as hard as Animorphs does, and I think it's a big part of why it has such an enduringly passionate fan base. More than anything else, Animorphs is a war story, and the series doesn't shy away from what that means for everyone involved. The series can still be very silly, of course, but I think that's also part of what makes it work, that it can contain these extremes all within the same story. I thought we were trading off paragraphs.
We are. So where am I going?
I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not entirely sure how much further ahead you've read. So some things I'm waiting to ask until I know, but some more non-spoilery questions. You'll probably talk about this in the later parts of Book 7 discussion. What? Nobody jumped in.
I know. I wasn't sure what was supposed to happen.
I felt like you had a short line.
It was a very short paragraph.
So, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, Eddie, you also got a short line.
I realized that as I said
it. You'll probably talk about this for the rest of your lives or in the later parts of Book 7 discussion. But what are your thoughts on the elements so far? What role do you think this being will play in the future of these books, if any at all? And if you were in the position of the kids, would you have taken the elements offer? Should we answer now or should we keep reading?
Let's answer now.
Okay, so take the elements offer. It depends on how much
what are
you
your
think
thoughts on the elements so far? So we have that.
Hot as shit. Yeah. We agree on that. We agree, right? Yeah.
The glowing light bulb person thing, I'm not sure.
It's a little weird.
No.
His lack of a physical form doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
I think that's what does it for me. I'm not going to lie. And I think the other thing about the hot Elemist is his Werner
I believe it's just
accent
right.
and cadence. Yeah. Elemist?
Yeah.
That hot Elemist? Yeah. Hot cousin Elemist?
Yeah.
Stop
it. But yeah, no. So as to whether or not I would take the hot Elemist offer, I don't know. It seems I read the 3-body problem, and there's the thing about going to space and whether or not you want to escape the planet to try and survive as humans. And there's a strong point to be made that you basically lose anything that means anything to you at that point. So it's how much is survival worth being in a zoo? I don't know. Not really totally worth it. So I probably wouldn't take it because it doesn't seem like that great an offer.
I don't think I trust the Elemist. I'm assuming that the Elemist is going to show up again.
It's because the Elemist is so hot. Right?
Yeah.
It's hard to trust a hot person.
Yeah.
It's so hot, you're hurting my feelings.
I feel I feel like the Elemist is probably going to keep showing up, at least for a while. I feel like the Elemist is going to intervene like that. Maybe show up at opportune moments of tension.
I think he's going to show up. I think it's going to be, he might save the day once more. But I feel like every time he comes, we're going to get a question that's another one of these big moral questions of, is it better to survive in a zoo?
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a DVD menu someday of the series where it's the Elemist in a log lady fashion, sitting in front of a
rocking
fire,
back and forth?
Yeah, and telling the story of the Animorphs.
Yeah, maybe they're telling the story to the Elemist.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would take the Elemist's offer. I feel like I want to say no, but in my heart, I think as a scared child, I'd probably just be my mommy will be there.
Yeah.
If my mom will be there, I'll go.
That's a fair point. Yeah. That's a fair point. What would Marie want?
They would all request, actually what middle schoolers or high schoolers would do is request that their crush also be there, right?
Right.
I feel
that would be so lame.
Can I come back for the middle school dance?
Yeah,
I can't miss middle school graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, the thing that would hurt the most is knowing that human technological advancements that I'm really invested in as a species would never come to pass.
Yeah.
So for example, it's you get there and the best PlayStation you'd ever have would be the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And so you'd be stuck playing the first Crash Bandicoot, because I'm sure they they'd give you a PlayStation 1 if you asked for it. But then when you go to the Elemist and you say, like, can you give me like a PlayStation 5 though? They'd be like, well, what kind of games would it have? And it'd be like, this just isn't the point. It's not the point for me to come up with Final Fantasy 15. It's the, or whatever. Could you have come up with a game as crazy as Fate's Day Night?
No, but you just have to feed the prompt. Like you say it's like Grand Theft Auto 3 or something, but much better. And then the element, it's kind of like Chat GPT or something. The Elemist just like got it.
Yeah, that's a good point. We should start calling the Elemist Chat GPT. What were you going to say, Miranda?
I just want to say that it hadn't happened yet, but technically speaking, Animorphs was was still being released when Fate's Day Night came out. So, like... Yeah, no, I figured that one was an old property. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, cool. So, yeah, that's question 1. Shall we go into question 2?
Yeah. Of the other aliens presented in the series so far, which are you most interested in learning more about? Just the Yeerks and Andalites, the Hork-Bajir or Taxons, or one of the species that has only been briefly mentioned, aka the Ged.
The Ged. Well, I want to know about the Ged. I also want to know about the was it the Shrek?
Oh yeah.
Something that started with 3 S's.
Wait, where was that?
Is that what's the one that slurps things out of ears? The Yeerk extractor.
No. It was like one of the random races mentioned that didn't get as much screen time as the Ged in book 6.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, we're the Yeerks, conquerors of the Hork-Bajir and the something and the something.
Yeah.
I
feel like the Hork-Bajir, I feel like I know...
spell conquerors?
Conquerors.
I was very close.
I feel like we know what the
Stram and the Mock.
The Stram. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Stram and the Mock. I remember now.
I remember making that joke now.
I feel like the Hork-Bajir are just tragic. I don't feel like there's a twist there. That, like, we know they're like a peaceful race that got taken over by the Yeerks. I want to know more about the Yeerks.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the Andalite. The Taxons, I'd love to know more about, but I feel like there's no
You'd love to norm out with them. You'd love to, like, just have a normal night with them.
When you just go somewhere with someone where they know who you are, everybody knows your name.
Well, that's a good joke. I like that. I think it's like going to Applebee's, though. Like, oh, Eddie, it's been so long. Like, we should just get together and go norm out at an Applebee's.
Yeah. It's just me and 3 Taxons.
Norming out in the neighborhood.
I feel like there's no there right now with the Taxons, though. Like, I don't feel like...
They're just evil. Our but like, I want to know.
It's true.
I want to know what just plain evil looked like before the Yeerks.
Yeah. I want to know what norm evil is.
The Yeerks feel like they've had that. They have that covered though. Like,
yeah.
What about you two?
The Ged are what I want to know about.
Ged are good.
All right. Number 3. If you became a controller, I already am. What would you try and annoy the hell out of the Yeerk in your head?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, girl. Okay. Take it, Miranda.
If you became a controller.
Chris already
Question
is.
3. If you became a controller,
Chris already is.
What would you do to try and annoy the hell out of the Yeerk in your head? This was discussed on the Animorphs subreddit a while back and had some funny responses. I think I'd endlessly recite annoying commercials like head on, apply directly to the forehead, and etc.
Saw a really good drag performance that involved head on, applied directly to the forehead. It was really next level.
Those instructions... Not as helpful for certain things, but so the I in the question was the author of the question, but Miranda, I just know a lot of lyrics. I think I'd just sing songs. I'd just be doing like all of Rent.
Oh yeah.
And then I'd just like all the Sondheim I know. And like we'd be doing A-side and B-side of Superstar like on repeat for 3 days. Like
Right. I'd be like, are you sure you want to do that? And the Yeerk would be like, what do you mean? And I'd be like, hey, don't let me stop your great self-destruction. Die if you want to, you misguided martyr. I wash my hands of your demolition.
Die! If you want to.
You innocent puppet.
I feel like I would try to be like endlessly helpful to the Yeerk, like offering information that I knew the Yeerk already had.
Would you be like at work and be like, oh, this part's actually tricky, let me do that?
Yeah, or I would like insist on showing it memories that I had already shown. But do you remember this? Like, and then play back a memory that.
That's
I'd be
Sam.
like, yes,
we
I
went
saw
to
this
camp
already.
together. Remember?
Yeah.
Camp montage.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could cast doubt on your own memories. Like if you acted unstable enough and you were like, this is just what they want you to believe.
Yeah.
Like if you...
It's like backseat driving the whole time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
did the woman in the first part of Megamorphs, oh, we haven't done that yet, but did the crazy lady who lives in the shack successfully defeat a Yeerk? Or was she, like, did she starve it? I think she starved it. I don't think it could convince her to go back to the Yeerk pool.
Well, we got a clue about that in the episode we're about to record,
That's
which
true.
is that they're rationing Kandrona.
That's
so,
true.
like, she could be messed up as a result of that.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in the book episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if you could act sufficiently mentally unstable to make the Yeerk doubt the accuracy of the memories he was viewing in your brain.
All right, new theory. What if you got a very inquisitive Yeerk? Like, what if you got Terry Gross as a Yeerk?
Oh, man.
What if you got Fresh Air's Terry Gross? What if you got NPR's Fresh Air's Terry Gross as a Yeerk in your head, and she just asked you mind-blowing questions for the
day.
rest of your life?
You both grow. It's great. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like going
That's
to
what
a
I'm saying.
retreat inside your own head.
Yes. People would pay a lot of money to have Terry Gross in their
I'm
ear
more
like
interested
that.
in the Yeerk that takes over Terry Gross.
Terry Gross.
And she's just giving feeds. Like, the Yeerk has to perform that in interviews. Like, yeah, it's a lot to live up to.
And the Yeerk is like, really? You read all of their books? Okay. I was just going to skim them, but... All right, number 4. Back to me, I guess. So far, what are your favorite character dynamics? The whole team is great together, of course, but I really enjoy the different individual dynamics that exist with them as well.
It's very true that they're all great.
Yes.
I think my favorite is anything to do with Assistant Principal Chapman. I really think he's funny, and I just think he's really fun.
And just whoever you put him in a scene with, like, new colors of his personality come out.
That's
Like,
true.
He really elevates every interaction.
My favorite main group character dynamics are Marco and Jake,
Nice. That's hot.
Marco and Rachel.
Are you just going to list all the 2-person combinations? Because we don't have enough time. Like that.
Chris, you're
gets
really in a
factorially-
hurry.
Marco and Axe.
Oh, Marco and Axe.
Marco-
Absolutely.
And I think that's the end of
Miranda,
my, like...
but you're forgetting Marco and Marco.
You're
the
right,
greatest
you're
love of
right. I'm
all.
sorry.
When he narrates.
And then I really like Cassie and Rachel's dynamic, and...
And I really just like them all.
Fuck
I
off!
just really,
I only listed like half the possible combinations, not even.
I want more Cassie and Marco after our pool
Yeah.
scene. I think Rachel and Tobias is fun. I want to see more of that.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with Marco and X. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Top
Marco
tier.
and X. Yeah. A few funny odds and ends. Texans literally
Wait,
get
Chris,
their
you
name
didn't say your
from...
favorite pairings.
I'd said my favorite interactions are all Chapman. days.
Okay. And then
I have to say pairings. Chapman and his wife.
you always
Chapman
write
and
fanfic
Fluffers.
about that.
Yeah, Chapman and the television that's not on.
My favorite thing about fanfic is that you can play out totally like heteronormative, stereotypical married relationships in them. You can just really get into them and explore. You know, people don't want you to know about that.
In a way that the way that the tolerant left won't let you do on your Twitter feed anymore.
And with Chapman and his wife, you get Chapman and his wife, but then you also get Yeerk Chapman with unyerked wife.
Oh my God, I
yerked
know what I
wife.
want so bad now. I'm so sorry. I'm such a needy baby today. I'm wrapped in a blanket and I just want to interrupt Eddie. But the whole point of this interruption is I want a Gilligan's Island theme song about the Animorphs. And then I
okay.
want with Chapman and his wife.
There's Deal and Dan and the rest.
Exactly. Eileen the minor human.
All the NPCs.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
It'd
the
be funny if it
Visser
was
3.
It would be really funny
Yeah.
if it was all NPCs, but then you kept and the rest, and that was
Yeah.
the Animorphs.
Yeah. There's Gilligan, there's Visser 3. Because the Skipper 2 is actually the line. The Skipper also.
I'm aware. So
Eddie's not. Eddie never watched Gilligan's
I just
Island
noticed
through
Eddie-
critical literary
I was going to
lens,
say, did
right.
Eddie ever ride Canyon River Rapids with us? Like,
No, Eddie wasn't allowed to go with us to Hershey Park because
we couldn't be
first
trusted.
of all,
We put lifts in our shoes. We threw
Yeah.
Eddie off the ride. Like, it's getting ridiculous.
a bunch of stuff like that. And you'll recall that in Eddie's puppy-like nature, he's not allowed to have chocolate. So
It's not true. Did you sing Gilligan's Island on the ride?
Every
Yeah, we
time
did.
our
Every
dad sang the
time,
Gilligan's
yeah.
Island theme song,
Yeah.
the whole thing, start to finish.
we would do it on Flying Falcon too, because we would sing it once on the way up and once on the way down.
Oh, I didn't
We'd
do
sing it
Flying
on
Falcon
the
with you.
We'd sing it on the coal cracker.
That was a nice long ride.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really easy for people to place us on a map after if we keep all this.
Oh yeah.
Coal
I can't tell you where I live, but it's not under the coal cracker in Hershey Park. I mean,
Okay, a few funny odds and ends. Taxons literally get their name from K.A. and Michael Grant hating their taxes and struggling financially. Said taxes felt like something all-consuming, devouring anything in sight.
They do, and frequently when you kill a tax return in front of other tax returns, they will descend and eat the fallen.
and
comrade.
eat the
Yeah.
to eat the absolutely, yeah.
My CPAs all had jelly red eyes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nice.
And the opera mouths.
K.A. and Michael Grant are big trekkies. You could probably guess that from how much they're always talking about Star Trek and junk. They also like Lord of the Rings. That's
Yeah,
pretty
those
sick.
are two series I like.
Yeah. The idea for the series was originally conceived by a dumpster. That's
Wow, I didn't know
wild
dumpsters could
sentence.
do that.
I didn't. Yeah, I think you maybe, no offense, wanted to go over that one again, or you knew that we'd love the lewdness
Just add
of
a
it.
little clarification next to a dumpster.
Next to a dumpster, conceived by. Well, even conceived is a risky verb to be thrown in there.
That's true.
I'm just saying. Anyway, alien
Willingness
words
just because
or names.
it's conceived.
Well, do I have to explain it to you, Eddie?
Yeah.
Like, do you know
When mommy loves daddy very much.
they'll often embark on a very lucrative children's fiction career and lose most of their money to taxons. Alien words or names are often created based on anagrams from random things around them. That's funny. They had to write these books very quickly, so there just wasn't a lot of time trying to think of cool sounding names. The Andalite word Nothlit, which we haven't gotten to yet, is from Hilton. Visser is for vicious.
No, but it's like the same feeling, right? It's like, so
Viscer,
when you were a
vicious.
kid, did you ever like have someone explain to you the sound impact of how you write words?
What the fuck are we talking about?
We did like
right
an
now?
analysis when I was a kid of the opening line of Moby Dick, like just call me Ishmael, and like why it flows as a sentence and that it's fun to say it. It draws you in with its sounds.
Yeah.
More importantly, I have to ask this now that I'm thinking about it. Do either of you, both of you, do you hear things in your head when you read them?
Yeah.
Not it.
Yeah.
And with writing too,
Okay.
I read it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There's apparently people who like don't have that like inner narrative all the time, and like it's just like it's terrifying to me. James like sped read a book and I was like, how did you do that? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, don't you have to say the words out loud in your head? And he was like, no,
I think
don't
because
have
of
to
that, I
do
don't
that."
visualize things as much though while I'm reading. Like I
Sometimes.
think
Sometimes.
it's more about the words, like hearing them
Yeah.
and the scanning, but like I don't have images very often while I'm reading.
I just started reading Vanity Fair, which is obviously a very old book, but I've seen a really good mini series of it. And for that reason, it's like very picturable for me. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
a lot of fun.
yeah.
What was that face for Vanity Fair, Chris? Was it just that we're getting that off topic?
Yeah.
Chris, do you have to be done with everything by like 8 or something?
No. I just know we're trying to do a book episode after that.
You're
so
not
I'm
wrong.
just
You're
trying
not
to-
wrong.
Yeah.
Sure. Lastly, one thing you might not be aware of is that Tobias and Axe unfortunately get the short end of the stick when it comes to narrated books. Not in terms of quality, many of those are fan favorites, but because they have less than the other characters. That was the end of the sentence. Sorry.
But because they have less than the other characters.
Yeah. Apparently, Scholastic didn't think kids would enjoy reading from the point of view of an alien or a hawk boy.
Which is nuts.
Yes.
I don't
That's
get
like
that.
literally all I want to do.
The hawk boy, a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? It sounds like a great pitch, but then, like, as the kids read it, maybe in focus groups, it doesn't do well. But alien kid? Absolutely not.
I don't know, man.
To return to the email, so they made K.A. Applegate and Michael Grant have those characters share their place in the narration and switch off. They alternate on who gets a book. 8 is Axe, 13 is Tobias, so on and so forth. As mentioned, many of these books are actually fan favorites, so Scholastic was very wrong, but it's unfortunate all the same. Generally, I think the series does a good job, especially as it goes on, with balancing the characters and making sure to feature Tobias and Axe strongly in books, which they don't narrate.
Anyway, this email is getting very long, and knowing you may read it out loud, they know us well. I'll let you guys rest your voices. Looking forward to listening to future episodes, and I hope your enjoyment of the series continues to grow. Thanks for reading. Well, thank you, CJ.
Thank
you
you
for the
very
email.
much,
Yeah.
CJ.
We love these emails, so. And
Yeah, we
sorry
do.
it took a little bit of time for us to get to.
Thank you for your patience.
Almost 2 months.
I say that all the time now.
I say that a lot. Is there more that we should do, or should we
Yeah,
pause
we
there,
want to just
or,
talk about this other one, and we don't have to, I don't think we have to read it out loud. Here, I'll pull it up.
All right, pop it in.
Whoa, oh, tomatoes.
This is from James. I can't tell you my last name, Morrow.
I don't like the sounds of this, guys. I don't really I just think that's super sus that
Someone
he can't tell us his last name.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I
wild.
would never believe something written by a person
like
who
it's
can't even
in
tell me
his
their last name.
Yeah.
And also, he failed to mention that he didn't tell us his middle name. He told us his nickname, which is I can't tell you my last name.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, James, aka I can't tell you my last name.
Can't tell you my last name,
Last
Morrow.
name,
Yeah.
Morrow.
Yeah.
Right.
And
last
while
name
we've
Morrow.
said that we can't share our last names, we've also given helpful information for determining our last names.
Eddie,
our
I never
locations.
learned how to spell your name.
Do you want to try?
I'm loving Howdy
on the
Anidorks.
screen.
I'm loving the pod, and I'm super excited to hear your reactions to and reflections on coming books. In relation to the reading order, I'll throw my vote behind reading Andalite Chronicles after book 13. There's some revelations in the Andalite Chronicles that aren't revealed to our main crew until book 23. I'm so sorry. I was thinking about 2 Live crew. But the revelation in book 23 doesn't make nearly as much sense as how things are explained in the Chronicles. Plus, reading it earlier means you'll be able to hold these facts in your mind. You overestimate us as you go through the rest of this series.
That's why we have
I
the
also
quizzes.
recommend reading the... Yes, to keep Miranda and Chris fresh. Although I should put you on the spot. I'm going to do the next quiz. Ed, you haven't been tested.
I was very impressed by everything that you two remembered.
I also recommend reading the Elemis Chronicles after book 54. Sure, you can read it ahead of time, but its story is only tangentially related to the Animorphs kids, and I like it as a bookend of the series. I also think that by the time you read the end of 53, you'll want to go right into 54. Thanks for sharing your journey with us. James, I can't tell you my last name. Morrow.
Chris, does hearing that there's a revelation in book 23, does that count as a spoiler for you?
Eddie, I pretended to be okay with this line of humor on your birthday, and it sounds like you got a little big for your
My
britches
birthday
because
is my
here you are
birthday
blowing up my
week, so
spot.
it's still my birthday
that's
until
true.
the end of Sunday. So
That's true. Anyway, I don't think that's a spoiler. I think personally that spoilers make things better.
Oh, Miranda, that's good for us to hear.
Yeah. No, I think they make things better. I think it's just there's some people who have a gift for spoiling and some people who don't. And I don't think people who don't have a gift for spoiling should spoil. They should leave it to the spoilers. Wow, I'm like super judgy today.
You
But
judged our
anyway.
guests and your co-host.
I'm like,
It's
this is what
antagonistic,
happens when
Chris.
I run out of Truly. Yeah.
Anyway, it is still up for debate how exactly our reading order is going to go, or have we nailed it down?
No, we have not nailed it down. It's very moment to moment, but I'd be down to read the Andalite
I think
Chronicles
we
after
have a
book
pretty
13
good
if
idea because I feel like there's a pretty good consensus in the community. I think what we're
and yet not amongst the Anidorks.
what I think is more up in the air is how we're going to break down
Sorry,
seasons.
Ana Cool Kids.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we're done with this podcast, I would like for us to start over reading the first chapter from every book in book order and then moving to the second chapter.
Miranda, thank you for stepping in so we actually responded to the email that we received, because I think...
Why is mine not a response?
No, we were just ready to move on.
Fussy. I'm not moving on. I gave a real thing about order.
Anyway, I think it's interesting that there is some level of a conversation or controversy a little bit over when to read that book. And as you know, Chris already tried to blow up my spot with this because I usually get one Fate universe reference a night. That's the rule. And I was going to say it sounds a lot like, you know, whether or not to play Fate Stay Night, the original VN, before you watch Fate Zero, or if you can start with Fate Zero. And I just think it's
really good point, Miranda. It makes me think about my one Fast and Furious reference I get to make tonight. Where when do you watch Tokyo Drift? Am I right? Do you come on?
So,
best part about that, Tokyo Drift's the only one I've seen.
Yeah, it's also the best one.
This is a good indication of the fact that we are coming back with our second season next week.
That's
because
very
what
good.
You can hear is those wheels
week.
Just starting to loosen up again. We're learning how to podcast all over again.
I Am Baby, Listen to Me podcast.
The subtitle to season 2.
Yeah, and Chris is apparently grumpy all the time.
Super grumpy baby.
Super grumpy baby in a cocktail bar.
What's he doing there?
So what do we have to tell our dear listeners? Please keep sending us emails.
Do we need to answer Stephanie's question?
Oh, thank you. Did
Stephanie have a question?
So Stephanie got really miffed at, I think, just Eddie, because I'm the cute one. But really miffed at Eddie that we glossed her question in our last episode.
We did?
We've had it resubmitted with better...
So how I understood Stephanie's question before, and she does listen to the podcast, so she will hear this.
Friend of the show, Stephanie. Yeah.
Subscriber on Patreon as well. By the time
she subscribed on Patreon,
she Venmos me a few dollars. I'm just kidding.
I'm
just joking. I'm making that up.
If she's Venmoing you, you need to put that in the budget sheet. You can't just keep that.
I'm kidding.
I clicked for that.
I guess we should take this moment to mention that the Anidorks podcast Patreon is actually real now.
Yeah.
Anidorks, stop it.
You know that thing we kept joking about having and didn't have?
Yeah, it actually exists. I'm trying to find the link.
We should finish Stephanie's question, though.
Who?
Wasn't Stephanie's question, do you guys have a Patreon?
Yes, and my answer was yes. It's right here.
And she's like, oh, good. I've just been Venmoing you $5 and I wasn't sure it was getting put to use. And you were like, ha, 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 as you like hit a bunch of really pricey treats for your dog.
Yeah. So what I understood Stephanie's question to be was, what if one of them morphed into a shark and then they kept the shark, the Animorphs kept the shark in one of their pools. But then I told Stephanie I didn't understand this question, and she said what she really meant was, how can they make the shark morph, which I think only Axe possesses right now.
Only
right?
Axe has, yeah.
How can they make the shark morph more useful, because she thinks it's underutilized right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is the classic Aquaman debacle, you know? It's like he's really powerful in water. Otherwise, he's just using whatever water's around to get you wet, right? It's like... so it's like, yeah, I sprayed you with that fire hydrant, but it didn't, like, kill you.
Yeah.
I think bathtub shark would always be a laugh. That would be so good.
Trick Chapman.
Bathtub shark.
You can morph into the shark in Chapman's bathtub.
Yeah,
so that when he comes
famously, Chapman keeps a pet shark in there, and you could spy on him by being.
He won't know the
so
difference.
From the sounds of it, the only person we've seen that has a pool
is Marco, whose mom died in an above ground pool.
Yeah, well, there was the apartment complex pool,
the apartment complex,
but it was empty.
Right. So Right.
Also, a pool's not really big. Like, so I guess what my question is, it's not a question. I guess what my answer is that I don't think even if you stationed a shark strategically everywhere along the eastern seaboard in a pool.
Strategic shark placement.
Yeah, in a pool, I don't think they would be very useful because you'd still have to get people to go into the pool.
Well,
And the shark would be clearly visible.
You could
in,
like
a
lead,
pool.
like if you forced a mob of people into a pool, sure, but then it's an ambush weapon, and that's not really how the Animorphs.
so
They don't just tend to
Yeah.
lead the masses to slaughter.
I'm trying to think about how the shark could be useful outside of water. So what if they were fighting on a slope and you morphed into the shark? Well,
You would immediately not be able to breathe.
yeah, but then you just morph back after.
Okay. Yeah.
Just you could get a
Yeah,
few
that's
angles.
fair. I mean,
You know how like in like Tony Hawk, you can like use pools as like little bowls.
skate
Yeah.
areas. Yeah.
And you can like bank from bowl to bowl
Yes.
if there's like over a neighbor's fence.
Yeah.
You know what
Transition.
I mean? Do you think you could do that like all the way down the suburbs as a shark?
Oh, like how at the beginning of Echo the Dolphin for the Sega Genesis,
Yeah.
the way you start the game is by jumping randomly off the side of the screen and over a barrier.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like a dolphin would be better than a shark for that.
But would you
Famously,
don't
they
know.
have dolphin shows.
You would
they
need
have
some, like,
well,
build-up.
I'm going to offer some information. They offer dolphin entertainment at SeaWorld.
That's true.
Not shark entertainment.
Well, that's because
Shark
you
Week
can.
is all pre-recorded because they don't take cues well.
That's what I was going to say. You can train a dolphin. That doesn't mean that they're better at it than sharks are.
Yes.
Simply means that a shark won't do it on command.
Especially once you're inside the shark's brain, giving it commands to jump from
Yeah,
swimming
like as a
pool to
year,
swimming pool.
that'd be fine. Yeah, or
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
as a
of course.
as a morphed shark.
Checkmate, Chris.
But
I do like sharks.
But I still don't know that I think that there is, short of like attacking them in an aquarium, a really useful place to use the shark morph outside the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think that they're underutilizing the shark morph. I think that's
It's
the
really
thing.
cool though. I think from a narrative perspective, would it be cooler if they used the shark morph?
Yes.
I think it'd be cooler if they, were all like had a sense of humor about it and were chill like Marco, and just like got on the bus and turned into a shark. That'd be fucking hysterical.
That's true.
That'd be really
True.
funny.
We've only
True.
been thinking about combat, but they have these antics that they get into,
That's
and
true.
the shark could be
right.
useful. Yes. Okay, so to be
Here's the
continued,
thought.
I think.
Do you remember Trigger Happy TV?
Yes.
Turning into a shark would have been great for some of those
Yeah.
sketches.
And that
I'm
is
just
Marco's
saying.
future, I think. That's where he is in the
Yeah.
epilogue.
Dom Jolly. He's little Dom Jolly, who was already quite old at the time. Anyway, okay. I just found out that Gavin from Slow Mo Guys was a huge Trigger Happy TV fan.
Of course
and I
he
got
was.
What's
yeah, and
slow-mo,
I got
guys?
Okay. So let's start at the beginning
Gabby
of
Free.
book.
Should we
Gabby,
make separate
Do they ever do
recordings?
that on slow mo, guys, or is that just an achievement?
Thanks for listening to Anidorks. We'll be back soon with lots more to say. Until the Andalites return, or at least until next time. See you soon.